bloom, the fumes, all up in your room. It's all on Boom Radio.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the Boom Bar reaching you from very hot Lagos. My name is Sola Rogers.
The weather is very hot. I'm asking now. Should I ask?
No, you shouldn't,
I'm
because I
not-
already said it.
I'm not hot like that, too.
And then step out now.
I'm not hot like that. I don't understand the definition of hot.
Okay. I'm happy for
Any
you.
which way, welcome to the bar this very interesting afternoon. It is Dolupo right here, and I wish you a warm welcome to the bar. If you're just joining us, or if you're not a newcomer, if you're listening, or if you're watching us right here. It is, like I said, it's very interesting. There are a lot of updates that we're going to be talking about. The updates from the NLC issues. There's update. There the labor union strike. There's updates coming from that. There are updates from the Nigerians that were deported from Saudi Arabia. There are updates from reactions from the appeal court judgment in Lagos State, and a few other stories here and there. We will be touching on today, and I think that we should just get right into it. First things first. I don't know where that case is going to at the moment, but there's talks of the CBN governor being arraigned today for the allegations of economic sabotage and all that, which
To the glory of God and the betterment of mankind.
oh my God, we get your point. We get it. Let's just move on. Thank you very much.
Move on.
What
Did you just say move on from Emefiele?
yes,
Did you just...
It has happened. This has happened.
Nope.
Oh,
There's
God.
no moving on.
Oh God.
There's no moving on until justice is served.
Okay.
There's no moving on until we get to the bottom of what happened to millions of us Nigerians, real Nigerians, who were exposed to all sorts of terrorist
terror.
financial policies that left an indelible,
What are you doing? What do you think you're doing?
indelible. Let's not move on, but let's go to another story.
What are you doing? What do you think you're doing?
Tears of joy that Emefiele is going to go to court. Tears of joy because there's a narrative, and it has to stop one day. And even if it's the current politicians that people are rooting for who are making this happen, if they are culpable too, they will pay. We need a country that believes in equity. And if you're going to come to equity, your hands must be clean. But let us take this Emefiele one first. Let's start with that. So, allegedly, he committed financial terrorism. What's the charge again? Talk now.
Economic sabotage.
Financial economic sabotage. I need to put terroristic somewhere, allegedly. I said allegedly 2 times. So, in case you people want to sue me.
Okay,
It's
so
allegedly.
this is not part of our lineup, but just saw something pop up right now. And according to Sahara reporters, which there are even pictures of a list, that is out there. The governorship candidate of Kogi State, Mr. Dino Melaye,
PDP governorship candidate.
the PDP governorship candidate, Mr. Dino Melaye, is asking PDP chieftains for a refund of over 150 million naira for monies that were shared.
I don't believe that story.
Okay, so
I don't
according
believe that
to this
story.
list. Let me just. Each polling unit is supposed to get each unit worth 5,000 times 351 people, and party agents are getting, some are getting as much as 250,000. Like, there's a whole printed out list of how much. There's like a, how much was divided and how much was not.
So
Now,
what is the money for?
politicking.
Are they bribes or to be used to buy votes?
Politicking.
Or is it just their own cut of the old, PDP largesse?
Politicking. That's all I can say. But my question
But
is...
Shebi said there was no election. Maybe that's why he wants his money back.
Because he didn't vote now. But
He said it doesn't matter if he votes or not.
But, which, really and truly, it doesn't. Really and truly, it's just one vote.
It does, actually.
No, the perception about it. But I'm saying that for numbers' sake, it kind of doesn't.
It does matter because his vote is more than one. Again, you're at
How
home.
is his vote more than one?
You're at home. They are not allowed. Unlike other countries, when it's election time in Nigeria, campaigns stop 24 hours before, voting starts. But however, Nigerian politicians have found a way around it because the media needs to keep people abreast of situations. They go to where every top contender is going to vote, and they cover the event. And of course, the person gets to speak without campaigning. And it is shown on TV, it is carried on radio, it goes on the blogs, it goes on social media. That is the finest form of campaign without campaigning. So that one vote that you say will reach millions of people who will say, I've seen Dino. Dino has voted. Oh, you know what? Let me vote for Dino. Oh, you know what? Let me not vote for Dino. Do you understand?
Okay,
So
makes sense. On that angle, it makes
that
sense.
one vote, beyond the law, I'm not talking law now. I'm talking optics. I'm talking PR.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
everything.
That, optics with it, he actually probably would do a lot more. But looks like he didn't. I'm not sure he voted. And according to Sahara reporters, they're saying that Mr. Dino said he wanted his money back. And it's not even the first time that I've heard it say. I think it was PDP too now. I think it was during primaries now that a particular person did not win primaries and said that he wanted that.
No, his own case is different now.
But it makes sense. If people did not win, return people's his money now. He cannot lose on both.
The money for primaries is different. That one is their birthright. Like
where is it in the law that you are supposed to give anybody any money?
Delegates go there.
Where is it? Where is it that you're supposed to give anybody any money?
You're not going to badger me so that I'm not going to lose my chain of thought. Delegates go to primaries to make the monies that their fathers have worked for in heaven.
Oh wow!
So they
and voters didn't. They are more.
Please, one step at a time. Okay. One issue at a time.
I'm just saying.
Pele,
I didn't know.
Dino.
Wait, our voters not
at a time.
Voters not. Wait.
That's the problem of voters. Let me finish one.
Oh, wow.
Let me finish one. That's why AI will be telling you that we are not coordinated. Let me finish one first.
Wow. Okay.
So, dear AI, I know you are listening. So, the delegates go there to collect the money that their grandfathers and grandmothers have worked for. Every 4 years, when you are chosen as delegate, it's your turn to collect your father's money. Okay. Now, for the agents, they can hide under whatever, logistics and all of that. Do you understand? But some of them are obviously given for vote buying. Some of the agents at the site of voting approach people and say, look, if you vote for my candidate, I will give you X amount, or I'll give you this or that. That's why they vote monies to these people on election day. If you go there and maybe you're providing shelter, because we know that some of the voting units don't have that, you provide maybe refreshments, it's fine, without coercing people, without canvassing. But some parties actually pay canvassers. People are there, and it is not supposed to be official. But there are people there who are canvassers, who are paid to go to the polling unit. They will engage you. You think that they are just chatting with you. Then they start to, So that's how politics works to a large extent. Thank you, and welcome
Are
to
you
my
done?
TED Talk again.
Are you done? Number one, you said that is how politics work. My own question is that what is it that delegates have that voters don't have? See,
Okay, delegates. Is it a question?
Wait,
It's just rhetorical?
it's not rhetorical, but it's a longer version of. There's a longer part of that question, because my issue is that yes, people pay these monies to delegates or agents. Yes, agents need to move around. They need, feeding on, logistics, all those things. I get all that. Which, if we're going to go by your understanding, then agents need the money officially more than delegates. If that's what we're going to go with. Number one. Number two, people did not win election. If you did not win election, the least you can do is return somebody's money. They cannot lose in both ways. You cannot lose money and then lose election now.
Okay, so if you're going to be coming to equity, I like to say you must come with clean hands. You cannot attempt to bribe, then lose and become moralistic afterwards. It's a bribe. So we're talking about delegates now. If you have paid delegates to vote for you, like the person in question that you're talking about had flown a few people to the venue of the event, put them up.
Yeah.
And he got fewer votes than the people that traveled with him.
Uzi, I swear, some people will not make heaven.
So?
Because how does someone carry you, give you feeding? The least you can do for him. It doesn't even need, I'm sure the people he carried was probably not enough for him to win the primaries. But the least you can do is at least give people, have some loyalty. Like, people have no loyalty whatsoever.
So when he, found out that he didn't even get as many votes as he thought he would, of course he voiced out and everything. Now, there are laws against all of these things, and that's why the DSS and the police, they're always on the prowl, ICPC, looking for people who have done this. Now, if Dino is saying that he has bribed people, they should invite him, let him, with that is evidence, because it's obviously saying that he has bribed. But, like I said, it would tell you that the money was for logistics and whatever. And if it was for logistics, then the money has been spent because there was an election. You only just didn't win. It's two different things. Now, again, your question, because I thought you were explaining, because I was basically being sarcastic and all of that, but sadly I have to explain it to you. So, okay, guess what? In being sarcastic, there are facts that we're putting out. So, you must be a member of a political party to become a delegate. You would have attended several meetings. You would have invested your time and your money. And you become recognized to the point where you're representing your community in your political party. Now, not as an elected person, but just as a representative of that particular community. As against voters who would probably not do anything for 4 years until election time, and they go out to vote. Two different things. Completely different. And it is our own form of electoral college. Like, this happens before, as against the American system that happens during the elections.
Any which way. But the what's it called? The conclusion for me is, please, anybody that knows how to become a delegate, it's better to join
a
party
political
now. It's
party.
better to join now and then
Join a political party, walk your way up.
Enter the way of a delegate, because at this point, looks like they're the ones cashing out without doing absolutely nothing. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go back to our original plan. As the Saudis have now come up with an explanation as to what happened, why about 170, I think some 7 or some people were returned to Nigeria. There were over 200 people that went. They were going to return everybody, but I think about 80-something people stayed back. They allowed it to about over 80 people go in, and about over 170 people were returned to Nigeria. And now, I remember that day that I said that there has to be an explanation for it. I'm sorry if it looked like, but especially when it comes to those kind of countries, we have seen a lot of badly behaved Nigerians in the past couple of years. So I'm not going to hold brief for anybody until we really know what exactly is the issue is. So according to them now, they're saying that a lot of these people came in with wrong information. And by the time they were verified, these things were not, they found out and then they had to return them to the country.
Okay, if you travel with fake documents, even with original documents, the host nation, your destination, has and reserves the right to allow you in or not. It's usually there written in the fine print when you go get a visa. So that is established. But now they are saying that a step further, that some of them, not all of them, because actually on that flight, a few of them were let into Saudi Arabia. A few of the Nigerians that were stopped on that airpace flight were, allowed to go into Saudi Arabia. Now, some of them that they say the documents were bad, should that have happened at all? Because we all know, if you've traveled before, and if you haven't traveled, you must have seen it, or you can Google it. You are checked. Even the Nigerian airport is so strict that if you are maybe seeing off someone that's traveling, that's a relative of yours, they probably won't let you into the terminal. So the screening starts from the parking, from the car park. So how is a country that is that strict with people who gain access to the airport, people who get on the plane, allow people whose documentations were bad to get on the flight? Again, the airline, some countries actually find airlines that allow people who are not properly checked to get on their planes. So again, the airline has questions. I've read somewhere they have said, okay, carry on.
So I don't think that is an issue of the airline. Now, according to the statement, let me read a part of that statement. They say that the passengers who were denied entry and subsequently deported to their initial destinations did not fulfill the entry conditions and requirements in accordance with the applicable rules and regulations of the kingdom, as they submitted incorrect information to obtain a category of visa that does not apply to them, which was discovered upon their arrival. Okay, what?
I think it's my microphone.
Upon their arrival. So why I would say that if this was more of, so it was about when they were registering for the visa. You know that that there are literally things, that this country is now, they still have a lot of restrictions. You can't, if you're at a certain age, or if you're this, if you're that. So I'm not sure that the airlines can really determine this issue.
Yeah.
I think that with this statement, it kind of exonerates the airline.
No, this particular category of people. Because there are different categories of people that were returned. There were some that I read somewhere that already had an history with them, and they were actually banned from coming back to that country. And they still got on that flight. So the immigration people, they have...
Yeah, that's where... So to me, it's more about the immigration than the airline.
No, there's no need to zero in on the airline. I mentioned that because it was part of the process of traveling. Like, the airlines get fined even when people jump. So they are very strict with it because they don't want to pay no fine. How much are they making that they're going to be? So I was going to get to the point where you're talking about the, I like to call it the point of no return, because usually when you go, you don't come back that way, even if it's in the same airport on the same day. Yeah. So when you get to the point where you're going to go through the clearance, Nigeria has all of those immigration,
they're wondering,
customs.
Didn't just get checked right now?
They're all there.
Yeah.
So with all of this, people can still have issues with their travel documents and go out. Don't you exchange information when people get banned from going to certain countries, don't they send their information to their country of origin?
Home country, yeah.
And to say, okay, look, these people are on a no-fly list now. Isn't this thing supposed to, be in place? Really and truly. Because it happens all the time. At times, even at the airport, you see people that you don't know who are, having issues. They're not allowed to travel. I've seen a guy that, man, very funny story. But the bottom line is, if they could check those ones, who was sleeping when
somebody
these people got
yes,
on the plane?
they probably should never have gotten on that plane. We get it. So that's why. Remember when we talked about it, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to hold brief for anybody yet, because, and I've seen this happen, especially with places like Dubai and all that it came up with. People, what it means is that people are probably coming up with all sorts of data. I remember something like that happened where I think people got family visas. And if it's a family visa, you're supposed to arrive together. And you came on your own, and then they stopped them and until the other people that you're coming with come. And I'm a very... Please, whenever you're leaving your home country, it is better to abide by the rules and the regulations of that other country, or else they will return you. And the truth is, before you even start fighting or anything, the first thing is that they will first have returned you.
Yeah.
Everything else, would be after. Every other conversation will be afterwards. There are only two options with those things. You are either getting returned immediately, or you're getting jailed. So I don't think that anybody really wants that kind of embarrassment and all that. So I just think that people, let's just be, if whatever documentation you have is not working for that country, it's not by force. Because I'm sure that you've probably paid a lot of money to get visas, paid a lot of money, and I'm not even sure at this point the airline is even going to refund any money. Because also keep in mind that those number of people that were returned, they're probably seats that the airline has probably already sold to some other people. Do you get? So at that point, it's already taking you back without paying for a return ticket to the airline is already there, already at a loss as well. So I think that if you see, money is even too difficult at this point to get.
I'm not sure the airline would operate at a loss, because most people, when they travel, they have return tickets.
Okay.
So,
but that's what I'm saying. That's if they do. If
hardly would you, except you're going on a student visa, hardly would you go for any trip without a return ticket. It's a standard. That's why some people get deported for that. People get deported you're coming with a visiting visa and you have a one-way ticket. I think it happened recently again to some people now, and there was a lot of hue and cry. I'm like, no, you should be smart enough to know that even if you were not going to return immediately, that you wanted to use visiting visa to Japa, you could have still been smart enough to have bought a return ticket. It's a sacrifice that you make. But when you travel, so usually the airline won't really... the only problem they might have is that maybe if the flight was fully booked, the return flight was fully booked.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're still going to make their money because you paid for a return ticket. Okay. You're just going to be kept in an hotel or something and all of that.
Okay, makes sense. Anyway, we'll see. The Nigerian government has not said anything about it yet, but we'll definitely hear we'll see what the foreign ministry has to say about this. Now, moving on from that, and let's go to a very interesting story. And this story, I know for a fact that we actually carried this story at the bar. It's more than a few weeks ago. So I think this is, in Ekiti. There was a story of a man that sold tickets to people. And then you're wondering, tickets to where? Ticket to heaven. Tickets to heaven. And I'm wondering why this person is free, because the story says that he is being rearrested for allegedly kidnapping children of church members. And I'm wondering, why was he even released in the first place?
So, this segment here is called the things that shouldn't happen. The things that shouldn't be happening
That happened.
that are happening. How do you wrap your head
meant.
around how a pastor? Let's start with that. He is a man of God. He is ordained. We don't know who ordained him, but once someone comes, especially
please,
in
can
Africa,
be a pastor does not mean he's ordained. Were you at his ordination
it's
service?
Africa.
I'm
It's
just saying,
Africa.
were you at his ordination
In
service?
Africa?
I can call myself a pastor now.
You're ordained, none here.
I know that's not what ordination is.
It's you that you are speaking grammar, I beg. Let's not dwell on the mundane. Let's go on the real issue, because that's how we'll start to be discussing ordination and lack of ordination. The bottom line, again, don't always take things literally. The person masquerading as a pastor who claims to be a man of God, who is supposed to be ordained, because, oh man, it's so hard for people to decipher. They just listen to these people and they don't know that they're lying through their teeth. This same person is now being arrested for kidnapping. Like, tell me it didn't happen. Like, a man of God, the person who's supposed to carry the gospel of Christ, who's supposed to preach to people to win souls. But do you blame him when he tells you BS, and he says things that he knows is a lie? Because Yoruba people say two people.
Okay, the way they said it, let me say it in Yoruba.
Say it in Yoruba.
Ẹni méjì ò kì í pàdánù irọ́. So the concept is that two people, there is a conversation. One person is assumed that one person is lying to the other person. If the person they are lying to does not know they're lying, the person lying knows he's lying.
Thank you. So this pastor, whenever I'm just painting a scenario, and I'm sure this is what has led to it. He comes on the pulpit and tells you a lie, and you take it hook, line, and sinker. He tells you another lie, The man knows that he can get away with blue murder. So what does he do? He starts to pump you guys with all sorts of lies, and then you become so moronic, and you're now like
moronic is the word.
One cheap android somewhere that when they tell you to sit, you sit. When they tell you to jump, you jump. Any religion that does not allow you to use your brain, your sense, and your own mind to decipher is not a religion. It is a cult. And it is even cults will reject the appellation and tell you, no, these ones, they're not part of us, Because how do you get a ticket to heaven? They don't even have tickets to outer planets except to the moon. I know that people are paying to fly to the moon now, and some people want to go to somewhere outside after. I think it's Elon Musk and his people that are planning to. Is it Jupiter or God knows where?
Oh my God!
But heaven, like seriously, like
last year.
How much did they pay?
Let me blow your mind.
Heaven.
Each person.
One-way ticket to heaven. Or is it return?
Oh my, are you serious right now? 310,000 naira each.
That can't even take you to London, which is a 6-hour flight from Lagos.
Is London heaven?
No, now the cost. I'm talking about the distance.
My God is a very, very.
Heaven is supposed to be far now. It's not supposed to be outside
My God
the
is
galaxy.
A very compassionate God. He doesn't want you to stress him.
So when you picture heaven, when you picture heaven, like where is heaven? Because we always look up, like, oh, heaven is there, And of course, now we know, because based on science, that we know everything that surrounds planet Earth. All the heavenly bodies. In fact, we call them heavenly bodies. Now, heaven should be further out, because heaven is not captured in any of those images of, the Milky Way, the galaxy, and there's nothing like heaven in those places, right? So that means the flight to heaven should cost more. Do you understand? It should cost more. How can it be 310,000 naira? Heaven cannot be that cheap.
But you know that this is actually not the conversation.
So, I'm establishing first.
I'm just saying that.
So for you to know the gravity of what this pastor, in quote, has done. A man of God scams people with flight tickets to heaven.
Stop laughing. It's not funny.
Like, let me picture members of his church. Most of them don't have that money, so they'll go out and borrow. You have a cousin that calls you up and say, man, I won't go heaven. You say, why are you going to heaven? My pastor is selling tickets.
We're going on
300. No, I'm not done.
No, we're done. We're done with what you're saying.
No, I'm not done.
This particular person,
I am not done.
Has now been arrested.
No,
oh my God.
No, I am not done.
Oh my God.
Then you now tell your cousin, you say, cousin, I have 200,000. You make 110,000.
Share you are not going to heaven.
If me and the cousin, I'll say, bring that 200. Let me double it for you so that you can make 400. Once you give me that 200, because it's heaven you want to go, it's obvious that you are so stupid that you don't know that you're being put on.
Okay,
so
some people just
taking a piss.
Some people don't know. But okay, let me explain something to you. Yeah. Now, this particular person has now been arrested by the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, for alleged kidnapping of over 9 persons, including minors, and impregnating the wife of his choir coordinator. I have a few questions.
But you're going to have to ask him. Maybe we should get you access to interview him.
So, according to the story, it was said that some of these hostages were children of his members whom he had hypnotized, brainwashed, and set against their parents.
Wow. Okay.
They said that apparently church members and even his wife had staged a protest to the Ekiti State Police Command.
So his wife has woken up.
That they're asking the government to assist them in getting their children, their wives, and relatives out of the captivity of this man.
So where is he supposed to be? Where was he camped? In the bush? Isn't he somewhere in one town or one city in Ekiti?
Yes.
Exactly.
So, let me finish.
Go ahead.
He said that to the extent that they said that he had forced children out of school to withdraw themselves out of school. And even a 27-year-old man who was already working had resigned and then was kept in the camp with no specific reason. It's not looking like it's normal.
Parents, please.
So, in fact, he said that the choir coordinator of the church had confirmed that the pastor had snatched and impregnated the mother of his 3 children.
Wow. DNA for the 3 too, though. You need to start from that side.
You never finish. Let me give you this gist. He said, I joined the church, but one day the pastor called me and notified me that my wife had a gift of prophecy that should allow her to stay with him for a month and work for God, which I obliged.
So he's God. He's God. The pastor is God because
but
he's the one selling flight tickets.
I noticed that my wife was not even willing to see or talk to me. While I was trying to raise eyebrows, the pastor announced in church that he had taken my wife and no one could take her from him.
He announced it in church.
Shout out to you,
I told you that guy was ordained. You're arguing with me. Ordination,
what's your definition of ordained? It's part I don't understand.
So it doesn't get any messier than that.
More hilarious.
A pastor sells fake flight tickets to fake heaven, then snatches choir master's wife and makes her pregnant, then takes people's children and locks them up, all in the name of what exactly? You know why they think they can do these things? It's because you worship them. You worship them. For Christians, think. If you're a real Christian, think. Read your Bible. And there's this very simple thing I always ask people. What would Jesus do? You're a follower of Christ. Is that not what you claim? Did Jesus Christ take somebody's wife? The man that even had access to heaven, did he sell a ticket to heaven?
Yeah, just mean human being.
Dear parents, please raise your children right. Train them. Teach them resilience. Please. The world is suffering because of too many lily-livered kids out there. How is a 27-year-old man who has a job quitting his job to go and sit down in some camp
But,
somewhere.
but you also know that it's very possible that is some level of
Some level of voodoo.
hypnotism. Yes, I actually is very, very, very possible. That one you cannot even you can't even say. So let's move on from that. But I really hope that these people are nothing is really wrong with them, and there if there's some level of whatever it is, that it is cleared up. Now, quickly, the NLC and the TUC have suspended their strike. I don't know why we didn't even talk about that thing earlier. And it's very interesting how, they finally did. We saw the intervention of the NSA, of the Ministry of Labor as well. And looks like that issue is sorted. We don't know if it's just a temporary thing. But I saw a bit of an interview with a former NLC chairman and the former governor, who is a senator right now, where he talked about him being assaulted when he was NLC chairman, and he was beaten, and he was arrested by the DSS and all that, but that the country did not shut. Anyway, let's even talk. You cannot even try that one with President Olusegun Obasanjo. How are you? How are you shutting down the? You are who? Where are we?
Okay, anyhow, for me, I've always said it, and I maintain that the labor unions have been.
1 second.
The labor unions have been operating like a cartel of sorts. Now, it's good for them to have a union that helps with the welfare of workers. It is good to have a union that looks out for their welfare, and helps them to fight for their rights, because at times people do need a voice. They need a voice, that is louder than the cacophony of voices that, are bound in the political space. But still, that doesn't give you the right, to now go and manhandle physically anybody. So I still retain what I said before, that I condemn the act, of violence against the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Mr. Ajero. However, it is completely wrong for Mr. Ajero and the TUC president and anybody involved in the decision-making process of shutting down an entire country because the man was physically manhandled and assaulted. It is wrong. But what he has done is even worse. They're shutting down power, shutting down power supply to Nigerians, shutting down banks and airports, shutting down courts. People could have died. These things need to stop. If you're going to fight for your rights and let people even see it and say, you know what, whatever you're doing is right. So for me, if they continue along this line and always quick to resolve to strikes here, strike there, strike everywhere, one day, the Nigerian Labour Congress will lose that power that it thinks it has. Because again, look at even this so-called national strike or nationwide strike that they claim that they had. How effective was it? Against the days when there were the Oshomoles and the Ayuba Wabas of this world, those days when the strike was called, shut down. Like, we actually used to look forward to those things. And I didn't belong to any union. But a lot of us would, join the strikes, even join the protest if there was a protest called. And at times, the sit-at-home orders, we say, okay, for 3 days, nobody's going out. Next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, everybody go shop, buy food, buy whatever. And you see, for 3 days, the whole of Nigeria is, under lock and key. Those weird days. Careful. Those weird days, But these days, when you call a strike every other month, it loses its efficacy. So what I'm saying is, at some point, they will completely lose out. They will. Because, again, people are coming to the realization that they are not really fighting for them. They're not, So that's that about that. And I know that in a few weeks' time, again, we'll be back at the bar here talking about strike again.
We'll have another Very interesting thing to see about them. Anyway, quickly, there's a very interesting thing that the Senate talked about today. And I felt that, it's something that we should actually just about. And one of the issue is that the Senate was, the customs was actually called for because of, we all know that the customs is basically revenue generation, really and truly. Every other thing is just by the way. So they were called, and part of when I talking about the revenue that they got, and one of the issues that came up was that due to the concessions of the former President Buhari's administration, the country had lost about 1.3 trillion naira in revenue due to waivers and concessions. And the Senate was wondering, what exactly was happening? And now they say they're investigating how those concessions and waivers came to be. And the sad part for me is that it seems to be like a recurring thing with the President Buhari's administration. Not about him himself, but it looked like it got to a point people were just doing whatever it is they wanted, and the president was not. So there were a lot of things that were even signed just before he. One of the things that they had signed just before he left, and it didn't make any sense. Some as late as April or even early in May. But of course, this paperwork is already there and it's a contract, so they can't just rescind on those things now. So the customs, while they were being questioned, they're saying, okay, to the extent that there is supposed to be something they call e-customs. There are a lot of things that they were supposed to do, and I don't know if I would say that it is some incompetence. The customs, when asked today, which was signed, they were supposed to concession some parts of the job that the custom does to some companies, which they had already signed. The former president had already signed it around April this year. Now, this new administration of customs is saying that they do not know anything about it.
Again, you always wonder how, these things happen in government.
Yeah.
Because if you have the right structures in place and
where the proper handovers being done,
and you keep records as you should, you would not have this kind of things happening. But this is my country. I'm not going to give up on that, though, but it should not be happening. Now, let's think of the waivers and concessions that we're talking about. I don't have the details of it. I don't know what the items were, because, again, there are some things that you grant waivers because you're looking at the greater good. Maybe some health items or security. So certain items that, the government would say, let's allow this person bring this thing in, maybe at this rate or at no whatever, rate, so that the landing cost does not jack up. So at times, I'm not adverse to concessions if it is for the greater good. But if it's man no man, party to party kind of concession where, you're just saying, because this guy is our guy.
Any which way,
the Senate should follow up.
We will see. Yes, I think that the Senate is opening an investigation into this thing. So yes, I think it makes sense. Let's move on from that. Let's talk about a little bit of politics. Now, starting from a statement that, was it yesterday though? The PDP presidential candidate, that he had talked about how people should come together.
No, people.
Sorry.
Opposition
parties.
parties.
It was yesterday we talked about it. Yeah.
That
opposition parties need to come together to unseat the APC. Now, I know that there was a statement that the APC had already replied in, but that's not even the conversation that we're talking about. There's been reactions from the Labour Party and the NNPP. I'm guessing those are like two parties that they were referring to. Now, the Labour Party had come out to say that they're not interested in merging with anybody. The NNPP any which way, did not seem like they were adverse to the part of merger. They just said that if the PDP and its presidential candidate are going to stand behind its own presidential candidate, which is the person of Rabiu Kwakwanso, and he will be the joint presidential candidate for everybody.
We don't say before now. We don't talk this thing. I said, look, the PDP is a presidential candidate in the 2023 elections. Alhaji Abubakar Atiku is preparing for the next election window. And again, as a politician with tact, you don't announce this kind of things. You don't. Let me give you shukuli so that you can learn.
What do
Keep
you
it.
mean by shukuli?
It's an expo now. You know, something that you can work with. Write it down somewhere, sir. You obviously don't know how to do it, sir. Let me teach you. You see what you do? You call the conquerors of this world. You call the Showorers and everybody that you think will add value to this coalition. Then you guys have a meeting behind closed doors, preferably in Dubai.
Are you serious? Really?
Where you have strong grounds and, you know, people cannot hear what you people are discussing. Or maybe London, because it's 6 hours from Lagos. You shall have that meeting. Then you guys will agree. Then you start to merge quietly. Then you announce it. But when you come out and say, let us do it together. You are playing to the gallery, sir. You don't understand. You're just saying, you see, I'm the first person to say it. So I have right of first refusal. Like you said that time that they were asking you if you're going to contest for president last year. You said you have the right to contest. And you did. And you won your party's ticket like you always do. What's that? This announcement is political suicide.
Anyway, they have said that basically they're not interested.
I hope nobody was listening. No, it's just my advice directly to our daddy.
Anyway, still talking about politics. Interestingly, there have been a few protests here and there. Now, I don't know if this sounds like it's politically motivated, but let's just go with it. An activist group, or so-called activist group, Concerned Citizens Forum of Nigeria, and also PDP women, which those ones it's okay for them to do that. Anyway, this concerned group are protesting the sack of PDP members from the National Assembly.
It's well within their rights to protest, as long as they go about it the right way, and it does not degenerate into a riot. Because some people don't know the difference. They just say with a protest, but na riot na they do. Some people say with a riot, bros, na protest you they do, and some people na concert they just won't do. They just need an excuse to get a crowd to come and watch them do hype man for free on a stage. A story for another day. What it is that it is actually strange too that about 3 or 4 PDP members, all lost their seats at the federal house.
But they're not the only parties that lost their seats. No.
In one state.
Okay.
In one state.
Yes.
In one particular state.
They lost 4 seats.
Indeed, it is strange. But maybe it's
go to the court.
Maybe it's old age. I don't know what's doing
Go
me.
to the court.
My own is that what effect would the protest have? Will it bring those 4 guys back? No, they are gone. They are gone.
The court is not bringing
they are
them back.
gone. So the protest
strategize and find a way that if
the protest
did again, they will not
is
get
within
kicked
your
out.
rights. But what would you achieve with that protest? That for me is what is important. That's the issue.
Anyway, we'll see where all that is going to, because the truth is that I don't think it's going anywhere. It's not going to do anything. I don't think at this point the appeal court is the end of any road for any National Assembly matter, and that's it. I don't know where that is going to go or where it's coming from. But moving on from that quickly, still talking about court issues. Governor Sanwo-olu has now hailed the judiciary about the court case yesterday, where the appeal court has been and affirmed his victory. To be honest, I didn't see anything coming out of this appeal court drama. I didn't see anything coming out of it. Anyway, that being said, the appeal court has now set Friday as day, because I think that's another very controversial state, to deliver judgment on the Kano gubernatorial election.
Okay.
Remember that the tribunal has sacked the governor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see where at least no governor has been sacked yet. No, none.
Every election window or cycle in Nigeria, we have people going to courts after the results have been announced and people have been inaugurated. But at least one governor will shall go. Do you understand? It happen now with the Siam.
Yeah, but most people have not.
Auntie.
Nobody has been sacked yet.
It they happen, I be you know they happen.
Yeah.
But you know, go let person finish. So wait me at the talk now. Say what I'm saying. Sorry, because you know, broken English is our other English that we speak. What I'm trying to say in essence is that, is this the governor? Is this the governor that is the one that will make the one that is not returning? You know, because look at it. Alex Oti, people felt that he was going to get kicked out. There was something similar. You understand? But hey, the man is governor for the next 3.5 years, except he resigns or whatever. Yeah. So, is it the Kano governor? Because he actually lost at the tribunals.
So,
and the volatility of Kano when it comes to political decisions is my fear.
yeah.
You know, and it seems like these two movements, the Kwankwasia movement and the Ganduje APC bloc, are so powerful that none of them can be pushed aside. Look at the results that INEC brought out.
Yeah, it was a lot of votes.
It was this close.
You know, it's funny thing how it was that close, and even that, you know, it
was this close, you know. Then there were protests.
Yeah.
The APC side of people were going to, but I'm glad that their leaders were able to quickly curtail them. What do you think will happen again on the flip side if on Friday
the governor gets kicked out?
The governor gets kicked
but
out.
I think they can still get to Supreme Court, yeah?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just afraid, Sha.
But we'll see.
I think it ends on Friday.
No, I think for governorship, yes, it gets to Supreme Court.
I think it ends on Friday. Guys should just pack it. Sorry, let me wait for the judgment.
I'm not there.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
I'm not there.
Allegedly, you know, Dolupo feels they should allegedly pack his bag, you know, allegedly go.
Any which way, moving on from that.
It's allegedly. Maybe that one is a magic word.
Sadly, a 2-story building collapsed in the Oyingbo area of Lagos State. Today, in the earlier hours of this morning, where an octogenarian died. It's very sad. There was a partial collapse of an old building. When you see the pictures, it was obvious that that building was not in the best state that it should be.
You know, Dolupo said sadly. What's really sad is that it's not about to end. There's still more cases out there. I see the state government moving hard and fast. You know, they're testing buildings and, you know, preempting these things from happening. You know, octogenarian, septuagenarian, whatever genarian is a human being that was alive until a building collapsed.
Yeah. There was not a plan for the person to die.
So
exactly.
It's sad.
Quickly,
really
just let's...
these things must stop.
Quick updates from a few things that we had talked about yesterday. We talked about the issue of Will Smith and what happened with him, with the one person saying he's his friend, saying that he caught him doing whatever. Now, interestingly, Will Smith himself had not said anything. His management had come out to debunk the story. Do we say wife?
Well, they've not divorced now.
His wife, who he has been separated from for over 5 years.
His former wife.
But I thought you said that they're not divorced.
5 years. By
his
law,
wife,
I think it's 2 years.
No,
Abi?
it's not.
It's
No, it's not.
His former wife.
No, it's not. His wife was one that has now
Tupac's former girlfriend.
has now come out to say that I don't know, I thought they are not a they anymore. According to them, we are suing him.
Yeah, look, she might not even be suing him because of what he said about Will Smith, but he mentioned her name quite a lot of times, and he implied that she would force people to go to rehab before they get to work for her. He painted her as some evil witch, you understand? So I have not read a statement, but when I saw the headline, I said, okay, Jada. So, I didn't see Jada responding.
Yeah, I didn't see her even responding at all. But I really, really honestly think that if you're going to throw allegations at people, you should be able to have hardcore evidence. If not, you might be smelling jail.
The kind of world that we live in now, you don't need evidence if you're just trying to cash out on the sensationalism that you're going to cause.
But you might land in jail.
Yeah, the jail is... look, you're talking about effects. There's cause and effects and all of that. I'm talking about some people who are desperate enough to say anything. You know, Michael Jackson sang a song, "Pillaging, not my love," sang about a lady that claims that he fathered a child by her and everything. And sadly, they had never met before. And you know, there are a lot of people like that who are out there.
That, yeah.
Now, but when a friend says something, now I'm not saying that this guy was lying. Neither am I saying that it's the truth. It is hard for you to come out from this. It is hard because people will start to look, oh, have they coerced him? Have they forced him? Have they bribed him? You know, whatever
I
you say or do.
I just think it was just a ridiculous stunt.
The same Michael Jackson had a family that he was helping. And the father of the child turned and used it against him. And when Michael died, the man came out to say
it was
just a lie and they just wanted to make money off it. And when you come across this kind of people who will do anything to make money, it is hard for you to... Some people still believe some of the stories that said...
Yes, some of those stories never go away. They never actually ever go away. That's the very, very sad part. So people, I just think that is being wicked. Maybe I'm just being sentimental. But even if I fall out with someone, yeah, and maybe at the time where we're friends, I don't think that it is right for you to now use that opportunity to say...
you don't do it.
You don't do those. I think it's even very childish on a lot of people's parts. But yeah, people do what it is that they do. Quickly before we go, I wanted to put this out there as the Malawian president has now banned himself and his cabinet from any foreign travel in the meantime in a bid to save money.
Yeah. Belt tightening measures and everything. You know, African countries need to develop to the point where
we don't go anywhere.
You don't even need to go. Do you understand? You don't need to go. Half of these African presidents, what they're going to do is they go out for treatment. And you're in government. You cannot build a world-class hospital.
Make it make sense, yeah?
You know?
It's not making any sense. Anyway, on that note, that is all we'll be able to take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very, very much for watching. We will be back again at 3 p.m. West African time tomorrow. There's a lot of music, very interesting music that happened during this week that we are going to review tomorrow. So have a beautiful, beautiful day and peace.